In 2024, Nottingham Forest were a club in trouble, battling relegation,
because it's dropped them into the relegation zone.
Uncertainty around the squad.
Nottingham Forest have been deducted 4 points following a breach of the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules.
The Premier League dream was slipping away.
We are wondering what's happening with the club and with the points deductions.
Then suddenly, one man with a majestic beard came in and transformed the club.
A lot of credit must go to Nuno for that.
Definitely his man management is fantastic.
He sparked a revolution and gave belief to a city that was losing hope. From the bottom of the Premier League to Champions League football, this is the story of Nottingham Forest.
And still Alanga, oh brilliant! Anthony Alanga.
Now Wood passes on, big chance for the second here. Classic counter-attack and Gibbs White. Puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Blink and they will punish you, Nottingham Forest.
Forest getting Champions League football is actually football heritage when you look at their history. They have actually won a European trophy, unlike the team ahead of them. In fact, they have 2 European Cups. This is what the Champions League used to be called back in the day. They have also won 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 league title, and 2 FA Cups. Their most successful period was under the management of Brian Clough and Peter Taylor in the late 1970s and early 1980s, which included those back-to-back European Cup triumphs in 1979 and 1980. In recent years though, the club did not experience that same level of success. In 2005, they became the first European Cup winners ever to fall into their domestic 3rd division. They spent 3 seasons there before eventually returning to the championship. Between 2010 and 2011, Forest reached the championship playoffs twice, but were unable to secure promotion. The following years were filled with managerial changes and inconsistent performances. The team was closer to relegation than promotion. This was a club that was used to dominating with one manager on their sidelines in Brian Clough. But now, no matter who they got, they couldn't get results. Colin Calderwood was sacked in the 2009 season on Boxing Day after a 4-2 defeat to Doncaster Rovers, a club that was at the bottom of the table at the time. In June of 2011, Bill Davies had his contract terminated and was replaced by Steve McLaren. Then McLaren resigned after a few months in charge when Forest found themselves in the relegation zone. Forest were going through more men than Jude Bellingham's girl. This managerial carousel went on and on for years until the appointment of Steve Cooper. He was appointed as Forest's new head coach in September of 2021, inheriting a team that was at the bottom of the championship table. Under his leadership, Forest experienced a remarkable turnaround, finishing 4th in the league and securing promotion to the Premier League after a 23-year absence by winning the championship playoff final against Huddersfield Town in May of 2022. Thanks to getting promotion, Cooper was backed financially. They splashed the cash on 42 players, breaking their transfer record 3 times for Taiwo, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Ibrahim Sangare. You see this amount of money being spent. Maybe Marinakis can give me a small loan of $1 million.
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
Nottingham Forest finished 16th, ensuring they would be playing in England's top flight for another season. It was a tense campaign, but there were some positives to take away. For one thing, they had an excellent home record, getting wins against Liverpool and Arsenal. In the following season though, some new challenges began to rise. A series of poor results led to Cooper's dismissal in December of 2023, with the team being 17th in the league at that time. So when Nuno Espírito Santo arrived at Nottingham Forest in December of 2023, he had a massive task ahead of him. It wasn't just the fact that the owner had a better beard than him. He was now in a survival battle.
One of the hardest challenges that we had ahead of us. All the noise that was around the club.
Now Nuno was no stranger to the Premier League. He had managed Wolves and Tottenham Hotspurs. During his time at Wolves, he was famous for his high effective counter-attacking style. Nuno began to instill that exact same playing style onto his new Forest team. They beat Newcastle 3-1, giving Nuno his first win in charge, then followed that result with a 2-1 win over Manchester United, which was Forest's first Premier League win over the Red Devils in 29 years. Nuno was able to keep Forest up for another season after beating Burnley on the final day. His pragmatic style had worked. Forest had been notoriously leaky at the back, but under Nuno, they became far more structured and disciplined. He deployed a compact 4-2-3-1 that really allowed the team to absorb pressure and limit the space for the opponent. With Forest staying up, Nuno began to really instill his philosophy onto the team thanks to his structured preseason. Unlike his rushed arrival in the winter, the summer of 2024 actually allowed him time to implement his style. Forest's preseason in Spain focused on team unity, getting the team's fitness levels up, and tactical clarity. Forest also began to improve their recruitment strategy. Instead of last-minute signings as seen in 2023, Key arrivals like Elliot Anderson and Milinkovic were secured by mid-July. This gave signings time to adapt and really integrate into the team. Still though, entering the new season, there wasn't that much hope, given that Forest had barely escaped relegation in the previous 2 seasons. They had spent a ton of money on new players, yet their 32-point tally in the 2023-2024 season was the lowest ever for a team that survived the drop. On top of that, there were doubts about Nuno himself. Maybe it's because he looks like a wise monk that you would meet at the top of the mountain who can give you wisdom rather than an actual manager. His tenure at Tottenham remained a cautionary tale. His short-lived, very messy stint in North London exposed a lot of potential weaknesses. There were reports that Nuno lacked authority in the dressing room, that his tactical identity was unclear, and that there was a disconnect with key players like Harry Kane. However, those setbacks ended up being learning experiences. Not to mention that anybody that manages Tottenham should be given the benefit of the doubt. It's a place where careers go to die and where winners, well, they become losers.
It's the history of the Tottenham.
For example, Nuno was a perfectly good manager at Wolves before he joined Tottenham. Well, Nuno didn't let the criticism get to him. Instead, he immediately started working at identifying Forest's weaknesses and fixing them. One of Forest's biggest weaknesses was how bad they were from defending set pieces. In the 2023-2024 season, they conceded 22 goals from set pieces, the worst record in the league. Fast forward, and that number has drastically dropped, thanks to the introduction of Milinkovic, a beast in the air. Alongside Morello, Forest's defensive expected goals is now among the best in the league. These two guys are like two fridges. Impossible to get by them. They remind me of the twins from Breaking Bad. Then behind those two guys, there's Matt Sells. This guy is a beast. At one point, he had the highest save percentage in the Premier League. His performance against Liverpool was legendary. I remember United played before Forest that weekend, and let me just tell you, going from watching Onana, who can't save a Word document, to Sells, who works harder than Google when someone's trying to log into my Gmail, was a nice change of pace. Considering this guy was supposed to be a short-term solution, it's good to see him establish himself as the #1 guy. Then at right back, will Forest have the best right back in the league?
I got cooked by everyone, bro. Even my dad. Laulu, what happened there? Laulu, what happened?
Don't let Ola Aina's humor fool you. This guy is funny, but he's also the best right back in the league right now. He is great going forward and can defend, which is rare to find in the modern day fullback. Then before you even get to the back four, you gotta go through Yates, Dominguez, or Anderson. These guys fight for every single duel. Yates is definitely one of those players that you love when he's on your team, but you hate playing against. This guy's more aggressive than Bonnie Blue trying to find underage guys. Now, defending wasn't the only issue Nuno had to address. Forest's away form didn't look too pretty either. In the 2022-2023 campaign, they managed just one away win. Under Nuno, they have no issues getting results away from home. A big reason for that is because he's transformed the team into a super dangerous counter-attacking side. Offensively, Nuno's tactics revolve around quick transition. Rather than dominating possession and passing it side to side like Arteta's Arsenal, Forest have embraced a counter-attacking philosophy. And they're able to do that by exploiting the pace of their wide players, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga. Both of these players were once highly touted rising stars at Chelsea and Manchester United respectively. Elanga emerged from the United Youth Academy as a player with raw pace and a willingness to run at defenders. Nuno is using that to perfection, using his speed to exploit spaces behind the defenses when Forest want to break. Elanga is also a super hard worker off the ball. While he's still working on his finishing and decision making in the final third, his athleticism and willingness to take on defenders make him a constant threat on the break. How funny is it that United didn't think Elanga was good enough to play on their wing, and yet now he's on a much better side? Hudson-Odoi was a player who at one point was actually deemed untouchable by Chelsea, with the Blues even rejecting an offer from Bayern Munich. Now, injuries and managerial changes have stalled his development, but his career has been absolutely rejuvenated under Nuno, with Elanga being a threat on the right side, Hudson-Odoi offering the same threat on the left. Forest are unstoppable. Hudson-Odoi offers creativity, skill, and flair for Nuno, cutting in from the left onto his right foot to either score himself or create for his teammate. His vision and dribbling ability make him a playmaker from the wing, with his crossing being so essential for a player like Chris Wood to get on the end of. Nuno also lets him roam around in central areas, making him super unpredictable and very difficult to defend against. He is excellent in 1v1 situations. Like, if you leave your fullback on an island with Callum Hudson-Odoi, that brother is getting cooked. It's not ridiculous to say that Forest have the best wing duo in the league, because you got Elanga that provides the raw pace and directness needed to stretch defenses, while Hudson-Odoi offers flair, creativity, and playmaking ability. This is why these guys are so deadly on the counter. And then you have Morgan Gibbs-White operating as the creative number 10. linking the midfield and the attack with his vision and incredible passing. He is one of the most important players in Nuno's setup. He is so important in orchestrating Forest's counterattack, because not only is this guy intelligent on the ball, but he has this ability to drive forward. He knows exactly where to go to find the spaces between the lines where he can receive the ball and launch attacks. His work rate and pressing ability is also fantastic. I love players like Morgan Gibbs-White who are not only technically gifted, but they're willing to actually do the dirty work without the ball. He's frequently creating goal scoring opportunities, either with a cross, with a through ball, or dribbling past a bunch of players and putting the ball in himself. Now imagine all these midfielders creating for the big wood up top. The Kiwi has been amazing, literally scoring for fun. You know what they say, you can't have a forest without wood.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
His consistency has been unreal. He's even surpassed Stan Collymore in the all-time Premier League scoring charts for Forest. Wood really utilizes his height and physicality to dominate aerial duels. It makes him a constant threat on set pieces and crosses. Then he also has the ability to hold up the ball that allows the other players to join the attack, and it makes Forest's counters so fluid. It's always nice having a big wood up top. You can also have a big wood by picking up your own Forest jersey from buygamejerseys.com and using code PETTALKS for a discount. Nuno has done what seemed impossible, turning Forest into genuine top 4 contenders. Forest's resurgence under Nuno is one of the most impressive transformations I've ever seen. When is the last time you saw a team go from borderline relegation to potentially Champions League football? Almost as remarkable as Wood's transformation from a journeyman to an elite Premier League striker. I didn't talk that much about him because I have made a whole separate video showcasing his journey. You gotta check it out right here.